Well, hi there. Um, I am here. Let me see if I can get the chat up. Okay. Um, Looks like we are good to go. And yeah, so I don't think anyone is in here just yet, so I'm gonna wait a little bit. Okay, we've got somebody in here. I don't know why I can't see the chat. Like, let's see. Um, okay. Well, I guess we're good to go ahead and get started. I'm gonna wait just a little longer, and then I'll go through and start answering questions. Okay, so we've got, it looks like Paulo is here and a couple of other people. Oh, geez, there's quite a few of you in here. So, um, give me just a second. I can't seem to get the chat to come up. I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, let me see if I can go do this another way. Sorry about this, guys. This is my first live stream, so some technical difficulties already. Okay. All right, so I've got the chat up now, finally. I can see it, but it's on my laptop instead of on the screen in front of me, so, but whatever, we're working around things. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. There's enough people here now to do the Q&A. So for those of you who aren't sure how this is set up or how it's going to work, I basically have set it up so that you guys sent me questions in advance, and then now I'm gonna answer those questions live and in front of you. And I've got dogs in here with me, so there will be noises and distractions in the background, which is the only way to do a live stream, obviously. But okay, so let's just go. I'm not gonna be like super actively monitoring the chat. I've lots of multitasking going on, but if there is something like crazy pertinent, I'll try to keep track of that. But let's go. Okay, so the first question is from Draco16, and that question goes like this. Rude question, I know, but how old are you? I actually don't think that's rude of a question. I wonder that too whenever I'm meeting someone on the internet for the first time or over a period of time. And then you look at me and you're like, is he 25? Is he 85? And you can't really tell because you know my face. The answer is 32. I will be 33 later this year in November. So there you go. It's out there in the world now. Question number 2 is from Sandra Chi, and she wants to know, where are you from originally? So I'm actually originally from Southern California. I grew up there for 17 years and then joined the Army, and then now I live in West Texas. So, and yeah. Okay. Question number 3, do you have any pets? So I think that's sort of already been answered. There's a couple of them in here with me. But I actually live in a house with 6 dogs. 3 of them were by choice. 2 of them we acquired, and the 6th one is my mother-in-law's dog, who obviously lives here with us and with her. So yeah, 6 dogs. Let me just check the chat, see if I'm missing anything. Okay, looks fine. I didn't verify that you guys could hear me or any of that stuff, but I'm assuming you can, because otherwise the chat would have blown up by now. Imagine I'm just sitting there like, and you're like, what? Okay, so question number 4 is also by Don T. We met your sisters, Heather and Maggie, but do you have any other siblings? The answer is yes. There's actually 8 of us. 4 boys, 4 girls. 2 of them are step, and then a bunch of halves and fulls in there. Heather and Maggie are my 2 like same mom, same dad siblings, but then I have a couple of younger half siblings, a couple of older half siblings, and then 2 older, even older step siblings. The 8 of us kind of grew up together, and yeah, so that's that. Okay, so that's kind of like I've broken these up into sort of like, I don't know, categories, kind of like questions that went with each other. So now we're moving on to the next one, which is more kind of content related. And so the first question on that is from Totally Tanya, and she wants to know, how are you able to afford all the cruising, or is that prying? That's not prying. I know that I travel a lot, and that's kind of eye-opening, noticeable for some people. So I guess the first answer is that I am a YouTube partner, so I have a fully monetized channel, so I do make some income doing this, so that helps offset that. But then I also have like a day job as well. It's a remote kind of position, and I live in a dual income household, and so on and so forth. So all of those things, help me kind of fund my adventures. And then I'm also constantly looking for deals, like, cruises that go down for cheap, flights, hotels, all that stuff. I do my best to be as savvy as possible with those. And yeah, I make it work. I also booked a lot of these cruises for this year during COVID, when cruises were really cheap. They're not so cheap anymore, so next year my schedule is going to be a little bit lighter, unless, things go really well here on the channel. But yeah, so that's that. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the chat again and make sure there's nothing that needs to be answered. So yeah, I see CME Traveling is here. Devin's Witch, I think, is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, and then Carlos and Renee and Mary. Hi guys, thank you all for popping in. Mary said, I'm going on my first cruise with my niece in November from Baltimore Enchantment of the Seas. Do you think I'll like it, as it's an old ship? Yeah, so there's actually a question specifically about Enchantment of the Seas, so I'll give you kind of a short answer to that for now, and then I'll answer it in more detail here in a minute. So Enchantment of the Seas is a very nice ship. Like she said, it's older and smaller. The vibe on that ship is really good. I've met some of the coolest, greatest people ever on that ship. So one of the most memorable cruises for me, for sure. It's a different vibe than like the bigger ships or anything like that, because, it doesn't have all the crazy bells and whistles and so on and so forth. But I do think you'll have fun, and just know that as a starting point, there are a lot of different options that are different than that. So if you don't like it so much, then keep trying. And if you love it, then you found your place, and you can just book that class of ships and stuff as moving forward. And it's good because those tend to be a little bit on the cheaper and longer side anyway, so that would be perfect. Okay. So back to the actual questions that I had prepared. Let's see, where were we? Don T again, he wants to know, what did you do before traveling for a living? So I've worn many hats over the years. My first ever job was in high school. I worked at McDonald's. It was awful, but it was nice to have spending money and stuff my junior and senior year. And then after that, I left. Like I said, I joined the Army. I was in the Army for 6 years. And then I was a student for a long time. And then I owned a business at one point. And then after that, I went to grad school. And then after that, the world shut down. And then I've taught a couple of courses here and there. And now I work in corporate America and do this for a living. And yeah, so that's my journey. Callie wants out of the room, but that's okay. She can wait. And yeah. So let me see where we're at with the chat. Okay, absolutely. Good and clear. Okay, so nothing too crazy happening down there. That's good. Okay, so moving on to the next question. This is from CME Traveling, and they asked, what creator or creators got you interested in starting traveling with Travis? And the answer to that is, I think the only one that comes to mind really is Pero DJ. I used to really actively follow their stuff. I still do to an extent, but I actually follow more of the kind of like new and up and coming channels now. Yeah, so a lot of the way that I do things is kind of borrowed and reimagined from the way that they do it. And so yeah, that's my biggest inspiration. But then of course we've got, Tony from La Lita Loca and all the big channels. And then also, what was I going to say? Oh, I met Doug from Cruise Radio and stuff. So yeah, lots of people, supportive and otherwise in the community. And yeah, so definitely tap into what is going on if you're interested in starting or already attempting to come up in this world like I am. Again, liking the beard. Thanks for answering our question. Well, you know, the beard, some people love it, some people hate it. It's on me because I'm lazy, but otherwise, thanks. And you're welcome. The next question is from Seacats, and it's, does Carlos like to travel? And the answer is yes, but not as much as I do. I know it's kind of like, does he get FOMO when I'm out traveling around? FOMO means fear of missing out. He doesn't so much, and he, like, what you call it, doesn't have as much time, like, flexibility as I do, but he's very supportive. He lets me go do my thing, and when we do get to travel together, it's always a good time. And when he is with me, I love torturing him with the camera. He gets real shy on camera and stuff, so it's always fun to just tease him and be crazy, and yeah. Let me check the chat again. Let's see what's going on down there. Which one of the doggies would like to travel with you the most? That's from Renee. So is the one that, actually, she's right here. She's our dog that likes to go bye-bye. She likes Starbucks and pup cups and all those things. But I don't know that she would really like being on a, I don't know, ship, for example, or something, because she gets scared very, very easily. And when people are here at the house, she's the one that's yelling and barking the whole time at them. But she definitely thinks she wants to go with me, but whether or not she would actually enjoy it, I don't know. I doubt it. Okay, back to the list. We're about halfway done. So moving pretty quickly through these, which is good. My mother-in-law will be home any minute, so that'll completely disrupt the household and everybody will bark and yell. So hopefully we can finish before that. Let's see. The next question is by Morgan. And Morgan asked, as someone who has supported you since the Roller Coaster Tycoon days, how can I help you grow faster? Well, first off, thanks for, supporting me for so long and for wanting me to grow. So for those of you who don't know, I used to do gaming content on this channel years and years and years ago. Actually, not that long ago, maybe like 2 years ago. And before that. And I ultimately decided that I didn't like that anymore. I grew out of it, I guess. I mean, I still play all those games almost every single day because, I'm still a child. But I'm just kidding. If you play games, you're not a child. Plenty of grown-ups do. But anyway, so I transitioned into travel because during COVID, I felt like I was just stuck at home and like going through it. And I decided I was going to go do it and live it. So that's what I'm doing. And I switched my content to that so that hopefully one day this will fully fund my adventures and maybe even my whole life existence. One can dream, right? Okay. So that's that. The next one, this is actually the one that was about Enchantment of the Seas. So it's from Castro Crew, and they say or ask, my family and I are going on our first cruise in December. What are your pros and cons of going on Royal Caribbean's Enchantment of the Seas? So yeah, again, I really enjoyed Enchantment of the Seas. It was an awesome ship. Definitely different than most of the other ones I've been on. So what I really liked about it is it has an intimate feel. It's one of those smaller ships. So, I made lots of friends on that ship. A lot of them I'm still in contact with. As a matter of fact, I think that might be the ship that I have the most friends from, or like the most people I'm still in contact with. And the crew was like the best ever. And then, so those are pros. And so for cons, also it had one of the best buffets of any ship I've been on. Absolutely. But that was one of the main dining options. So obviously they had to, really step their game up on that compared to other royal ships I've been on. Cons, it's lacking the bells and whistles, like I said a little bit earlier. It does have a rock climbing wall and there's like a trampoline thing, but it doesn't have like a flow rider. It doesn't have big water slides and, zip lines and all those things that you find on some of the other bigger ships. And, but yeah, I think you guys will have a good time. Castro Crew, I'm rooting for you. I hope you love it. And check back in with me after you've been and let me know how it went. Okay, let me check the chat again. Let's see. Stay handsome, Travis. I'm trying. believe me, there's tons of creams and lotions and things I'm trying. Love your vlogs. Love your support. Thank you, Reg. And Travis, love your videos. Thank you, Mary. Renee says this is probably a question that needs more time to ponder, but if you could create your own cruise itinerary, whether the stops make sense in one itinerary or not, what places would you stop at? She's right, that needs more time to ponder, but that actually, I'll answer that in a minute because there's a question about ports. And some of those ports would definitely be on that itinerary. So yeah, we are going to be on MSC Seaside April 27th. Would love to do a sequel with you. That's Marcia from CME Traveling. That could actually be a possibility. I'll get back to you on that, Marcia. Okay, back to the list of questions. Honestly, I prepared this list because I was afraid like one person would show up, but we could have just done this like me answering chat questions. I like that better, but that's okay because people did submit these questions in advance and I want to get through them for them and for all of us. Okay, so Cameron asks, what is your favorite cruise ship of all the ones you've been on? And okay, so I had to think about this long and hard. I'm glad that I got these questions in advance. The answer is probably the MSC Meraviglia overall. I think that's been my favorite ship. Good amount of amenities, good glamour MSC feel, and sorry, putting the dog down. And so the crew and everything was great on both my times on that ship. So overall Meraviglia. As far as each category, each of the cruise lines I've been on, obviously MSC is the Meraviglia. My favorite Carnival ship has been the Carnival Splendor, hands down, like no competition whatsoever. And my favorite Royal Caribbean ship has been Freedom of the Seas. That's a good kind of mid-range ship for them. It's not really mid-range in the real scheme of things. It's actually quite large, but I think that's a good middle ground for Royal Caribbean and sort of has a good amount of amenities for like the size and still has that intimate feel. Like on an Oasis class ship, for example, you're just going to get lost and sometimes you'll never even see the same person twice and whatever. So yeah, I like the middle size ships overall. Yeah. Let's see. The next one is from Morgan, and it's, what is your favorite Disney World hotel? So again, this has to do with categories. I've stayed in two different classifications of Disney World resort rooms. I've stayed in the value category. I've actually stayed in all the value resorts, and then I've stayed in almost all the moderate resorts. And so for the value category, my favorite is Pop Century. It's great that it's on the Skyliner. I love the rooms there. It's overall pretty affordable. It's kind of in the middle of the pack when it comes to the price point for Disney value resorts. And so yeah, Pop Century. For the moderate resorts, I would have to say Port Orleans French Quarter. That's the smallest of the moderate resorts. The problem I have with like Caribbean Beach and what's the other one, Coronado Springs and stuff, and even Port Orleans Riverside, is that they're just so big. If you're in a room that's far away from the main area, you're walking 27 million miles to get, a bite to eat or whatever, and you're already walking so much in the parks that you don't need those extra steps, I promise. Okay, so yeah, let's check the chat again, see if I'm missing anything. Nope. You guys are just listening to me so intently. Thank you so much. And moving on to the next question. This is from Sandra Chi. She says, what is your favorite port that you've been to? And okay, so this is where, going back to Renee's question, where I would build my dream itinerary. Some stops that I would definitely want on that itinerary would be some of the Mediterranean stops, even though I'm not sure that my dream itinerary would be in the Mediterranean, but she said I can mix and match, so we can teleport to different locations if we need to. But so favorite ports, Ocean Key, hands down the best private island. I've been to 4 of the private islands in the Bahamas, and that's the best one, I promise you. Yes, that is better than Royal Caribbean's private island. Don't at me, I'm just kidding. It's just a different vibe. If you want relaxing beach, chill time in the Bahamas, Ocean Key. If you want attractions like water slides and zip lines and hot air balloons and whatever, then, Royal Caribbean's Coco Cay is the place to go. But yeah, so Ocean Key, Charleston, surprisingly, on my Enchantment of the Seas cruise. That was actually a port stop for us, and I loved it there so much that I've actually booked a cruise out of Charleston for next year, because if you didn't know, that port is actually going away, I think in 2024, so I had to jump on it because I want to spend a couple days in Charleston before that, and maybe after, I don't know. We haven't planned it out yet, but yeah, so Charleston. Bimini, which is an island in the Bahamas, which is very, very pretty. Very, very, I went to Resorts World there, and one of the best beach days I've ever had. And yeah, so Bimini, if you can get a chance to go there, highly recommend. And then this might surprise some people, but the last one is Costa Maya. And that's the reason why that's surprising is because for a lot of people, it's like, commercialized, almost like NASA in a way, like it was actually built specifically for cruise traffic to go through there. But I think the reason why I like that port so much is because we did the Mayan ruins excursion there at Chochoven, and I love all that history kind of stuff, and that was one of the best days that I've had on I guess on a cruise, but off the ship. So yeah, Costa Maya, if you do an excursion. I haven't actually experienced Costa Maya as a port without an excursion, but that will be happening in the future probably. And yeah, let me check the chat before I move on because I saw some stuff pop up. Don Wanderer says, you're a delight to watch. Well, thank you. I'm delighted that you're watching. And Vodka Drinker 77 says, St. Thomas. I've never actually been to St. Thomas, but I am not opposed to going there and seeing what it's like. So maybe that could be on my dream itinerary. I'll let you know once I've been there. Next question. Oh, okay. Well, actually, CME Traveling just came in. Are we going to see more Traveling with Travis lives? Maybe some live sailaways. I guess this will be the determining factor on how well this performs and how well I do. And I'm going to watch this back and cringe the whole time, I already know. But maybe. I'm actually a pretty shy person when it comes to like public speaking and this sort of thing. My videos that you see are really highly edited, and I cut out all the extra ums and stuff. So can't cut that out live. So we'll see how that goes. And maybe, I think it definitely is something that I like for a milestone. So, maybe 3,000, 4,000 subscribers each way, I'll do it again if it works. But I don't know, live sailaways would be cool too, depending on internet connection and all that stuff. But a lot of people do live sailaways and people love them. So I don't know, you'll have to stay tuned and find out. Carlos says, I recommend you all do an Alaskan cruise. So beautiful. I've been to Alaska. Carlos, you know that. No, I'm just kidding. You're not talking to me. But that's okay. Next question. We're actually almost done. Okay, so Sea Cats asked, what ports would you like to visit? Okay, so San Juan, Puerto Rico is very high on my list, and I actually have a cruise going to San Juan next year. So, and sorry, I'm getting a little parched. So yeah, San Juan, I'm looking forward to that. Panama Canal, I want to go there. So I actually have a cruise stop in Panama, assuming they'll let me on the ship in October, because they're like being very strict. The Caribbean, sorry, words. They're a lot stricter when it comes to like vaccines and testing and all that stuff. And so my vaccine status is a little bit kind of weird at the moment. I'm fully vaxxed and boosted, but my booster is going to be out of date, and so I'm trying to get another booster, but then the CDC says I don't need one, but Panama does. So hopefully, if I can get on the cruise ship next month, I will be going to Panama. That's a port that I definitely want to go to. And then this might be a little bit of a random off-the-wall one, but Halifax, Nova Scotia is another one, because my family's from Nova Scotia, and my grandmother and most of my family's buried there. And while Halifax isn't home, that's the closest I can get. So if I ever do a Canada, New England kind of cruise, Halifax will definitely be a port on that itinerary. And that's all I have, but I guess I need to add St. Thomas and a couple of others to the list that you guys recommended. And yeah. The next question is also from Sea Cats, and they ask, what is my preferred cabin type? Sorry. So the answer is whatever the cheapest is most times. Like I said, I prefer, so I know there's kind of two schools of thought on this. A lot of people travel and he like a lot of people a lot of people travel and they can only go like once or twice a year to somewhere, so they do it bigger. They have like balconies and suites and those kinds of things. But when you're traveling multiple times a year, trying to keep it within a budget, I think the inside cabin is perfectly fine. I'm not opposed to having an interior. One thing that I've been lucky with is getting free upgrades and then also bidding on upgrades that have gotten accepted. So I've actually been not in an interior more than I have been, but on almost every cruise, I've booked an interior from the start. And an inside room is perfectly fine with me. Actually, I think from a quality of sleep standpoint, you can't beat it because there's no natural light. You don't know what time of day it is. It's so dark in there. So if you're looking for quality Z's and resetting your, I don't know, internal clock or whatever, an inside cabin is the way to go on that front. And next question is from Miss Kinney, something like that. Sorry about that. Surely one of those is correct, maybe. So the question is Grandeur of the Seas or Mariner of the Seas, which would you choose? Okay, so Grandeur of the Seas is very highly acclaimed in the world of Royal Caribbean cruises. It's the sister ship to Enchantment, although Enchantment has had some pretty significant modifications that make it a lot different than Grandeur in some ways. But that class of ships is very highly loved. It's a smaller ship, has that intimate feel. I've heard the crew and overall vibe on Grandeur is one of the best in the industry. People really highly praise that ship. So it's on my list for a future cruise. As far as Mariner of the Seas, I'm actually going to be on Mariner of the Seas in December. It's not a ship I've been on before, and I haven't actually been on that class of ship either. It's the class right smaller than Freedom of the Seas, which is what I've been on before. And that was kind of like, that class of ships was like a big revolution in the cruise industry. So once I've been on Mariner, I can kind of give you a little bit more feedback on that, but I'm looking forward to that cruise. And so yeah. I don't actually think that answered your question. I'm sorry. I would choose both, but of the two, I would choose Mariner because I've already chosen that one. So I've made that choice already. Okay, back to the chat because I only have one more question. So I'll look at the chat a little bit. Let's see. Take a dip every now and then in the lives gets easier. Okay, that's from CMA Traveling. I'll work on that. Okay, so Renee says, if anyone needs advice for Disney World trip / itinerary, Travis maps it out so well. I was shocked at how convenient my entire trip was, so I can see how he applies that skill with cruises too. Thank you, Renee. She looks at me as some kind of Disney expert because we got lucky and I planned out our trip and everything worked perfectly. Buses showed up right as we were walking up. The lines that we got to were small when we got there and big when we left and things like that. A lot of that itinerary was out of my control. It's just the universe helped me out a lot. I did map it out in such a way that we would do a lot of the more more strenuous stuff and the heavier part of Disney World first, and then we made it lighter and lighter each day and finished off with kind of like Animal Kingdom chill, relaxing versus like crazy Magic Kingdom, kids screaming, all that stuff. So we started off with the crazy and ended with the chill, and I think that was a good way to do it. So yeah. Mary says, I think you're doing... Oh, Renee says, and Carlos is the best co-host when we travel together, I'm assuming she means. And co-host to my life, probably. He keeps me in check. I can be pretty crazy sometimes, so it's nice to have someone not so crazy to balance you out. Mary says, I think you're doing great live. I subscribe to your channel because I like how you give the facts and your opinions. You are very well-spoken. It's funny that I messed up the sentence, you are very well-spoken, while reading it, but that's just how my life looks. Fraser, the solo traveler, is here. He says, good to see you on live, sir. Hello. Hello, Fraser. Good to see you in my chat on my live. All right, last question. This is from CME Traveling. This is last because I didn't really know where else to put it. I just, nothing, there's nothing, I'm like over dramatic, like it's like this big deal, like this last question. No, it just ended up last because I didn't know where else to put it. They ask, so CME Traveling asks, how long does it take you to edit your vlogs? Any tips? So editing is definitely the bane of my existence. Sometimes I can get pretty lazy. I actually have a desk that I have for my bed. It's like a tray that you would put food on maybe, but it is designed to be a bed desk. And so when I'm being extra lazy, I will lay in bed on my desk and edit and stuff. I can't do that for the voiceover. I have to be here in this small room so that I don't have too many background noises and echoey and stuff. And this room is actually kind of echoey. I'm looking at putting some sound diffusers and things in as I move along. But anyway, so how long does it take? It used to take me a lot longer. I've gotten a lot better at it. I would say, let's say a 10-minute vlog would take me maybe like 3 or 4 hours to do, which I don't know if that sounds like a lot or a little bit, but I work on content almost every single day. So yeah, it's definitely a job more than anything. And yeah, so tips, I would say just keep it simple. Like I mentioned, the hardest and longest part for me is the voiceovers, the post commentary stuff that I do. I like that format, the way that I kind of like reflect on something that's already happened in between like the real time experiencing of it. But the less of that I can do, the quicker it is for me to edit the vlog. So that kind of, for me, is about being more confident when I'm on like an adventure. Sometimes I'm too afraid to like just pull out a camera and start talking in front of people. So I'll do like, B-roll and talk over it later. And so, yeah, I guess the tips would be do things that make it as simple as possible for you. And don't overthink it. I think that Renee and I were talking, Renee and I were talking the other day about how, if you don't know, I mentioned Renee a few times, she's in the chat, but she's also a good friend of mine. We hang out in real life, and she's been on a couple of trips with me that are on the channel if you want to check those out at some point. But anyway, she works in social media marketing and, content, like whatever. She's a fully certified crazy person when it comes to that kind of stuff. And she's learning the ropes when it comes to helping another client that she works for, but her and I communicate about this a little bit as well. And we were talking about how, in my opinion, I think that when it comes to editing, less is more. So like things that are overly produced and overly edited, yeah, it looks good, but is there actual substance there? But also being very kind of neat with things, like making sure that like you're consistent in how you, I don't know, like do transitions and fonts and just whatever, just like kind of create it so that your brand is really consistent. And I think people will buy into that. And yeah, so that's what I've got. CME Traveling, my friends from there, if you want to sit down sometime and actually discuss editing and things, we can bounce some ideas back and forth, especially since I know you guys do live streams a lot, and that's something obviously that I never do. So we might be able to learn from each other a little bit on that front. So yeah, let me check the chat one more time, and then that'll be it. So I was expecting to be about 30 to 45 minutes, and that's exactly where we are. So let's see. Good to see you. Not sure I can say I'm very well spoken with my Scottish accent. Fraser, your Scottish accent is amazing. I'm so jealous that you sound like that and I don't. Marcia says, be sure to hit that like button. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. Renee says hi with a wavy hand emoji. CME Traveling says, again, thanks for answering our questions. Congratulations, Travis, on 2K subscribers. That's a great way to end it. Yeah, so the whole point of this was obviously to celebrate hitting 2K subscribers. I'm hoping this is the first of many lives and milestones associated with them. And yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead and go. So I wanna thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all those fun things. If you're watching this after the fact, shoot me a comment down below. I love interacting with you all in the comments as well. If you showed up to the live, thank you so much. I could not have asked for a better turnout for my first live. And yeah, we'll talk soon, and y'all have a good night.